Alright, so you have learned all of these theoretical concepts. Now, how do you apply them in the actual PvP? This is actually quite simple. I have a rule, what I call the rule of three lemons, and essentially the assessment of any engagement comes down to three questions. And every time you answer no to one of these questions, you put a lemon in your basket. And these three questions are: first, is it a fair fight? So essentially it means, do you fight against a ship that is in your weight category? For example, for Tech 1 frigates, really only Tech 1 frigates would be a fair fight. Against faction frigates, you will be at a big disadvantage. It doesn't mean that you cannot fight faction frigates with Tech 1 frigates, but this is a lemon that you need to consider when you assess engagements. For faction frigates, any Tech 1 frigate would be a fair fight, any faction frigate would be a fair fight, and Tech 1 destroyers are also something that you can consider a fair fight. But for example, assault frigates are a class above, navy destroyers would be a class above, and so on. Next question is, does the initial engagement range suit my ship? So this comes down to positional advantage, really. If you have positional advantage, if you're in position, then the initial engagement range will always suit your ship because you are the one to choose the engagement range. If you are out of position, then sometimes the initial engagement range will not suit your ship, depending on your opponent, and sometimes it still will suit your ship if you are fighting, let's say, in an archetype mirror, like a brawler against brawler. And the third question is, who has range control? So basically, will I be able to change the engagement range if I engage out of position? Or will my opponent be able to change the range if I am in position and I start the fight at the favorable range? And as I said, every time you you answer no to one of these questions, you put a lemon in the basket. And next, you just count the lemons. If you have no lemons, then it should be an easy fight. If you have one lemon, it's typically a fair fight. If you have two lemons, then it's difficult, but it's possible still in some cases. And if you answer no to all of these questions, then you should just avoid this engagement entirely. This is not a fight for you. Now let's look at the couple of practical examples. I use the most common matchup in the game just to illustrate this idea. We will consider Rocket Hookbill, which is the most popular feat for one of the most popular ships, against Blaster Comet, which is the most popular feat for the most popular ship in faction warfare. So in the first example, we will have Rocket Hookbill in position. So Rocket Hookbill is inside the complex against Blaster Comet out of position. So Blaster Comet sits on the acceleration gate outside. Now let's answer these three questions. So first, is it a fair fight? Yes, because this is faction on Navy frigate against Navy frigate. This is perfectly fine. Engagement range. The engagement range will be suitable for the Rocket Hookbill because Rocket Hookbill is in position, and it will start a fight at Scrum Kiting range, which is 10 kilometers. And 10 kilometers doesn't work for Blaster Comet. Blaster Comet wants to fight at something like 2 or 3 kilometers because it's a brawler. So the initial engagement range is okay for Hookbill, but for if you are a Comet pilot, here you put the first lemon in the basket. And the third question, who has range control? So here Hookbill has range control. Hookbill has 5 medium slots and Comet has only 3 medium slots. Typically you will have Afterburner Scrum Web on a Comet, and you will have Afterburner Scrum Double Web on Hookbill. Sometimes you will even have Tracking Disruptor in the 5th medium slot. So who has the control? Hookbill has the control, and the fight will start and stay at 10 kilometers if both pilots know what they are doing. So here we put a second lemon in the basket for the Blaster Comet. So should we engage? For Rocket Hookbill, yes. For Blaster Comet, usually no. This is really difficult fight for a Comet unless you have unless you have made some adjustments to your feed. For example, you feed Afterburner and 2 webs instead of Afterburner Scrum and web, and you hope that Hookbill pilot doesn't notice that you don't have a tackle. Or if you maybe you added an overdrive instead of one of the max taps in the low slots. In this case, this is also engageable. Or maybe you have high-grade snakes in your Comet, and in this case it's also engageable. But if all things are equal, Hookbill can engage in this fight and Blaster Comet usually cannot. Now let's see the example 2. This is for the same ships, but we just swapped the positions. So now Blaster Comet is in position, it's inside the complex, and Blaster Comet sits at 0 on the warping beacon, and the Rocket Hookbill is out of position, so it is on the acceleration gate outside. Let's answer these 3 questions again. Is it fair? Yes, same ships. Engagement range, now it's suitable for the Comet, because Comet is in position and it will start at 0, but it's not suitable for the Hookbill. So we put 1 lemon in the basket for the Hookbill. And who has range control? Well, Hookbill still has range control, these are the same feeds. So now we put a lemon in the basket for the Comet. And we have 1 lemon for the Comet and 1 lemon for the Hookbill. And this is what we call a fair fight. So how does it usually go? Initially, Hookbill will take a ton of damage because it has to start at a very unfavorable distance. But it will be able to fairly quickly increase this distance between itself and the Comet, and the DPS of a Comet will drastically drop. And again, it really depends on the skill points of a character, skills of a pilots, and so on. So this is just a fair fight. It's fine for the Hookbill and it's fine for the Comet. Now let's consider the third example. Again, this is the same Hookbill. Now we put it back again in position inside the complex. But now we will use Rail Comet as an example. Rail Comet will be out of position. Let's answer these 3 questions again. Firefight, yes, again, faction frigate, against faction frigate. Engagement range is suitable for both ships now, because Rail Comet is a Scrum Kiter that likes to fight at 10 kilometers, and Rocket Hookbill is a Scrum Kiter that also likes to fight at 10 kilometers. And Rocket Hookbill is very likely to start this fight at Scrum range, because Hookbill doesn't know if it's a Blaster Comet or if it's a Rail Comet, and you just don't start the fight against a potential brawler at 0. You always start the fight at the range that's better typically for this matchup. So this will be 10 kilometers. So it works fine for both. Who has the control? Hookbill still has the control. It's still 5 medium slots against 3. But now it's okay for the Comet. it's only one lemon. What it means really in practice is that Hugwil will be able to leave this fight, and Comet is committed. So if Comet starts losing, it will not be able to do anything. But if Hugwil starts losing, it will be able to usually increase the range, burn away from the scrum, and then escape if a pilot knows what to do. And this is really as simple as this. The vast majority of matchups in faction warfare follow this rule. There are a couple of borderline cases that you will learn with experience. For example, some really odd feats like kiting comets, for example. These will work slightly differently because they can exploit the fact that most people expect blaster comets and they will not sit at the beacon, so you can engage even out of position and then quickly burn away because people do not meet you exactly at the beacon. So you can establish range control even out of position. And there are some, again, edge cases with ships that have very special bonuses, like Succubus, for example, has an afterburner bonus, and it will also fight slightly differently. But again, in the vast majority of situations, this is how you should think about assessing the engagements. And with experience, you will learn how to adjust this very basic approach, and you will just become more experienced and better at this. All right. I hope you found this useful. In the next video, we will talk about how to analyze your fights.